Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you tonight?
Good. I'm Bruce.
Hi, Bruce. I'm Lori. Nice to virtually meet you.
Exactly. You too.
So you ready for this?
I hope so. We had a couple of cancellations just this a little while ago, so I have no idea how many we're
You know
gonna
what you
have.
can do too is it'll be recorded. So
Exactly.
oh, I don't have my video. I'm sorry. I didn't realize my video wasn't on. I'll turn it off when I'm speaking, but oh, dark in my house. Um
Yeah, that'll be perfect
yeah,
because
and then you can send it
that
out. I'm sorry you missed it, but
yep,
feel free to listen and.
exactly. We've done that for a couple of the other things we've done. So
Yeah, that's okay. We don't really know where people are at right now, what they're thinking, what they want to do, how they're feeling about everything. So, yeah.
I think
Okay.
we're gonna see a lot more 2022s and 2021s right now.
It's very possible. It's very possible. Um, I mean, my thought is we'll be operating and, we might be operating with a reduced number of departures or reduced number of people on our tours. But I mean, if we can travel, we will travel. That's because we know we
Yeah.
need to get out there and let people see that it's okay. We can do this, but
I've talked to a lot of different travel agents, and everybody's like, well, we have to get out there and show people that it's safe. See, I look at it a different way a little bit. I want a client to go who's paid real money and comes back and tells me it's safe, it's good, we had a great time, we could sit at the beach without wearing them, you know.
right.
And the couple of the agents I talked to look at me like I'm crazy. I said, but you know what? Most people know that when we travel at a highly reduced price a lot of times.
Right.
And our industry is so broken right now that we need sales. So when someone comes back and says, oh, this was incredible, well, okay. But if I had a client that went down there and saw something and went on a tour or did whatever, and they came back and said it was incredible, I feel golden, you
Right.
know?
Well, we actually have three
Hey, Tony.
departures in a national park. Hi, Tony. Three departures in November on our Canyonland escapes. And last I looked, all three of them were sold out.
Excellent.
So our hope is that we can take those and we can put them out on, and these are real people. These aren't us traveling. These are real
Right.
people, and put that out on social media and say, because we haven't tested the protocols either. You know, we need to make sure that everybody we're working with is doing the right things and that the tour directors can handle all of the protocols. And we got to get out there and do it and make
Right.
sure that that people can still travel in a way that makes them feel comfortable. So
How about the buses?
what about them?
So normally you have like 40 people on a bus, right?
Oh, no, that's not happening. Right now, I believe this is the one thing in North America and Europe is that no one has designated the number of people that we can have on a motor coach, just so you know. We are not filling the motor coaches. I think we're staying in around, and don't quote me on the number because we're just having multiple motor coaches if we have enough demand, which is what we're doing in the Canyonlands. So I think we're looking more at around 22 to 24 people on a motor coach. No seat rotations. Nobody will be seated next to you if they're not traveling with you. Enhanced cleaning on the motor coaches, all that stuff. So on a lot of our exotic products, we are doing a 20 passenger maximum. So South America, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, even on Cosmos, we're going to be at 20 people for next year. So it's just that North America and Europe, we really don't have any true number yet of what we can or can't do. So I talk about it in the presentation. I don't dwell like 100% on COVID because to me, that's just a little bit of a downer. I hit what's important, and then I talk about the destinations, and then I leave it up to people to, do with that as they will. I'm not a hard sell. I do put a booking incentive at the end. I can take it out if you don't want it.
We're happy with that, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. There's no
2 for 1.
No, it's $100 off per
Hey,
person.
Tony, can you raise your volume up a little bit?
Yeah, well, you're really hard to hear.
Oh, let me see.
Can't hear you at all, Billy.
So how do you guys want to start? How do you guys want to start the presentation? Do you guys want to start and introduce me? Do you just want to welcome everyone and then say, this is our speaker tonight and let me take over? Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I think what I'll just do is, we'll see who comes on. We'll just, when they come in the room, I'll just say hi to them. And then like at 7:05, I'll just say, we're going to start now. Going to switch it over to Lori from Globus, and we'll come back and talk at the end.
Okay. And you guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right.
I have a question.
Hold on. I just want to make sure I can change the. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now
Better.
we can hear you a little better. Yeah.
Okay.
Are any of your I haven't looked. Tony might even know this answer. Like usually, the brochure comes out or the things open up and there's so many that are guaranteed, so many that are not guaranteed. Is that the same 2021 or is that kind of a whole different ballgame now?
No, it will be. What we're going to do is we actually do the official launch of Europe 2021 on November 4th. So we're coming up on that. We did it a little later because we've been waiting for more information. We've been waiting for the hotels, everybody to catch up with where we need them to be. Mm-hmm. So November 4th, once we open up, we're going to have we're going to have our guaranteed departures, and then we're going to have popular departures. Okay. And they're kind of two different things. They might be at some point the same thing, but they will be designated just as we have in the past. And if we say something's guaranteed, it's guaranteed. It will go if there's 2 people on it or 20 people on it. So, yeah. So yeah, so I kind of, Tony, I kind of covered the areas you wanted. I have Italy, I have Britain, I have Spain and Portugal, and then I have the US. Yeah. Kind of listed about 3 tours in each of those areas. And then we'll allude to the fact, of course, that there's many, many more and many other places that people can go to. So
excellent.
All right.
Somebody else.
Should I let Bruce in? Are we okay to let Bruce in?
Bruce Freeman?
Yeah.
Tell him he's not invited. No. It's fine. Yeah.
I have to admit everybody, so I didn't want to admit a consumer too early. So I'll let him in.
It's Mr. TWA.
And yes, I am having wine while we do this, just so you know.
That's good.
Where's our wine?
I don't know. Same place your lunch is at.
Oh, come on.
he says, why do you keep having these lunch and learns? You're not buying my lunch. Then give me a chance, boy. I haven't left my house in 7 months, but I will.
You better.
It's really depressing.
It is. I got to tell you. I love my house, but even I'm like, get me out of here.
Where's Freeman?
I think you're going to see Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think the cases are going to skyrocket.
All right, James Tabato, do you want me to leave him in the waiting room for right now?
Give him, let's wait a couple of minutes on him.
No problem. He's a client. I can control that, so.
He's done an Avalon.
Okay. Let me see. Somebody else is in the waiting room. Why is he in there twice? Huh. All right. James.
Maybe it's his wife.
Maybe they both logged in on different devices.
Good. That means we'll have 2 people.
All right. Yeah. Like I said, nowadays you gotta try. If you don't try, you don't know.
What really kind of depresses me is, so Tony has an email list of 560 people it was sent to numerous times. On my AOL email for the office, I sent it out 2 times to over 300 people. On Facebook, it goes on our Longwood page. Then I shared it to a Wilmington page I'm on, a Reading page I'm on, a Tewksbury page I'm on. I put it in a Chelmsford page that I probably shouldn't put it on. and then I got it on a one of the corporate accounts that I handle that have a lot of retirees. I put it on their page. So the amount of people that saw this was huge.
Right. Well, like I said, take the afterwards. I'll send you the recording.
Oh yeah.
Send it out to all those people, and they can watch it or not watch it if they want.
Oh yeah. So we have on our website. You can't find it by just going to the website, but we have a link to a page that Paul O'Mara built on it, and that's exactly what it is. It's for our live events, and it's also for people that have missed any of our live events. They can go and see the recording of it.
Yeah, I went on and looked at it. I saw that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what you got to do.
You didn't register for anything.
Yeah, I was going to listen to the AMA one and see what they had to say.
Oh.
You know, and we've never done anything like this before, but I think it's a good vehicle, and it's you know, if we were busy, if we were busy as I usually am busy, I'd have no time for this. I'd be working still.
Right. Exactly.
But you never know.
Is it 7 o'clock?
It is 7 o'clock on the dot.
You can bring them in, and then we'll just say hi, and then we'll give people a few more minutes.
Oh, Christine Connolly just is in the waiting room too.
Great. Excellent.
All right. 1, 2, 3. I'm admitting them. All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. You call me here now. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I got to fix it. Hold on.
Christine's been on a few different Globus trips, I believe. You there, Christine?
She's muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might be able to unmute her. Ask her to unmute.
Unmute.
I know.
Everybody.
Am I the only one?
No, we have somebody else coming, I think, or 2 more people. 3 more.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
Hey, Christine, how are you?
I'm doing well. Oh, let me start my video. I'm
you are.
exhausted, but I'm doing well.
That's great.
How you doing?
Yeah, no complaints. Hanging in.
Good. I
Just
gotcha.
spoke to Barbara today.
Oh, about what, Alaska or another
They're
trip?
getting their Alaska cruise set up.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed in that. I want to go back to Alaska.
It's good. I've done it once. I don't know if I'd go back, but I typically more of a warm person type of guy. So I was not really all that thrilled when we came up with the idea, but it was great. It was a blast.
Oh, I loved it.
Really good.
I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Christine, I think you might have even, Tony. Yeah, I mean, you probably have talked to him on the phone before. Pat had. I know Pat has numerous times.
Yeah, so is Tony down here in the bottom?
No,
He's there. Wave, Tony.
Give me a wave, Tony. Hey, Tony. I think I might have talked to you once or twice.
That's okay.
Oh, boy. So where's the Tabatos? Did they come in yet? No?
Connecting.
Let's
We're here.
see.
Can you hear us?
Yeah,
hear
we
us?
can hear you. Can't see you, but we can hear you, which is
We're
I
great.
want to be on TV.
Cheryl doesn't want to be on TV.
I have to clean the house.
Oh, no.
We're here.
All right, cool. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Hanging in there. Hanging tough.
Hey, I just heard that Textron's going to be hiring about 400 people over the next 3 years in Wilmington.
Yeah, that's right.
Crazy, huh?
Yep. They went all the way to the bottom and they're going to fight their way back up.
Yeah, I was just talking to Michelle Bossolina today.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, a place that, looked like it was done. Now it's coming right on back. She says, yep, isn't it great? I'm like, yeah.
They're going to have another missile program like they had in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. I think we're ready to roll. So just a quick hello to everybody. Thank you for coming by. Tony from my office is here. Bruce Freeman is one of our outside reps. Hey, Jim, funny story. This guy, Bruce Freeman, right? He was our TWA sales rep for many years.
TWA. Wow.
You remember TWA?
Oh, yeah. TWA means St. Louis.
There you go.
Yeah. Till American came along and rocked it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're going to start. We have Laurie from Globus Journeys. She's going to do a presentation on some of the escorted tours that they have throughout the world and in the USA. And then I'll be back at the end to kind of wrap up a little bit. So please enjoy. Thank you very much, Laurie. Take it away.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So nice to see some faces. As you can imagine, I've been working at home for a very long time now, and I miss being out and talking to people. So thanks for taking some time out of your evening tonight. Right now, I'm actually going to stop my video because it's distracting when I'm looking at myself when I'm talking. And then I'll just go ahead. And then at the end, if you guys have some questions or you want to talk about any other destinations or any tours that I talk about, we'll open it up to everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and cover myself now. All right, so let's talk about getting back to travel, right? Gosh, I think there's so many of us out there that just can't wait for the day that we can go somewhere again. And maybe tonight we'll just uncover a couple of things that maybe you would like to do in the future going forward. So if you're not familiar with the Globus family of brands, we've actually been in business since 1928. So, what's that make us? 92 years. So we're very old. And we actually started, it's a really cute story. The picture in the middle, the gentleman who started our company actually started by taking people across Lake Lugano to work and telling little stories and anecdotes about the area. And it just grew and grew. Over on the left, you'll see our first motor coach. And now all these years later, we actually are 4 different brands strong now. So we have Globus, which I'm going to talk about tonight. That's our first class, fully escorted motor coach touring. We have Cosmos, which is our affordable budget brand, and that's also escorted touring. We have Monograms, which is our independent travel. And we have Avalon Waterways, which is our award-winning river cruises. So I don't want to, and I was telling the gentleman before we started, I don't want to dwell like totally on, COVID and what's been going on. But I do want to tell you some of the things that we're doing that may make you more comfortable when you're looking at touring as a possible option of travel in the future. And there's really a lot of things that have come out about why I think that touring is going to be really important. And I think it's going to be a place that people feel very safe and comfortable. You kind of travel in your own bubble, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but it's really just you and the people you're with from beginning to end. So you're going to be with the same people, the same tour director, on the same motor coach. And so there's going to be a kind of a sense of security because all of you are in this together and you're all undergoing the same health and safety protocols. We do the heavy lifting. We do all the planning. We do all the logistics. So we've already gone out and made sure that the hotels that we're using are following our health and safety protocols that we require. And, so we're doing all the work, and all you have to do is come and relax and enjoy. And flexibility. And that's a really key thing right now for people, is that they want to make plans. They want to start looking forward, but they want to know that if something changes or there's something they're not comfortable with, can they change it? And that's really important. And I'll tell you about what we're doing with that. And getting a great deal. We all want a great deal, right? So booking a tour is actually 30% less expensive than if you took all of those components individually and booked them yourself. So there's a lot of value there. And of course, anytime, we couldn't have been in business this many years if we didn't do things very well, but we've even taken all of the steps that we had before and enhanced them to make sure that we have all of those safety things in place. So what are some of the things, and I have to hide this so I can see my screen. So what are the things that we're going to be doing? When I talked about traveling in that bubble, and there's a little part of me that hates that expression, but I kind of get it too. You've all been screened. So you're all going to have your temperatures checked. You've all been sure that you're negative before you go. We're very diligent with all the different touch points along the way. We're going to minimize contact everywhere we can, and we're going to provide that extra space to make sure you're safe and comfortable. So let's just talk a little bit about Globus in case you may not be familiar with us as a brand and what makes us so unique and why people love traveling with Globus. There's a kind of our 6 mantras are across the bottom there, but In a nutshell, we provide top-notch transportation. We have state-of-the-art motor coaches that are, of course, clean and comfortable. We have free Wi-Fi on board our motor coaches. Our hotels are located right in the heart of the destination. So when you have free time on your tours, you can literally walk right out the door of the hotel and you're right there in the heart of things. So you don't have to worry about how to get around. You can just go off, go shopping, have dinner, have drinks, and just enjoy. Let's see what else. We have, our tour directors. And it's funny because I get letters and stuff from people after they go on our tours. And even though they love the destination and everything, the one thing they talk to me about and rave about is their tour directors. And our tour directors have been with us an average of 23 years. And they speak on the average of 4 to 5 languages. So they're the person that really is out there bringing the destination to life. And they have such a huge part right now with us in making this seamless vacation. And this is them. Our tour directors are the bee's knees. And, what is that? What does that mean now? So they've even taken on more responsibility. Not only are they telling you stories, not only are they giving you history, they're making sure that we are delivering all of the things that are important to you right now. So that's everything from making sure that the hotels that we're staying at are providing the health and safety protocols, that the attractions and the restaurants we're visiting are all doing that as well. They know all the local guidelines. So if you want to go off and wander somewhere, they're going to tell you exactly where you should go and where you can be safe and comfortable. They ease the entry into the attractions, and the VIP access is really big with us. And we used to joke that it was all about skipping that line and walking to the front of the line, but it's even so much more now, because now you're not waiting in line with a lot of people. There's no currency that you have to use, so you can literally just walk in, and your tour directors are going to be the person that facilitates all of these things. So they're really important. And I mentioned before those hotels that we use. So, we used to just talk about the fact that they were city center, right in the heart of the destination, but now they're even so much more. We have vetted these hotels, we've tested them, and we have made sure that they are able to comply with all of the health and safety standards that we require of them. That includes, disinfecting of the rooms prior to the arrival, disinfecting your luggage before it even comes into the hotel. I hadn't really given that one much of a thought before, but it makes a lot of sense. And really important is that, we always used to say we included buffet breakfast daily on all our tours, but now we're requiring any of the hotels or restaurants that we use to replace that buffet service with staff and menu service. So know that that's a part of your package as well. And I mentioned those state-of-the-art motor coaches. So of course they're undergoing frequent cleaning every day that you get on. It's a freshly cleaned motor coach. We are providing hand sanitizer. We're disinfecting the luggage. And, we loved the fact that we did a seat rotation on our motor coaches and that people moved around every day. So everybody got a different view. But with everything that's going on, we're saying, okay, we're going to stop the seat rotation. So your seat is your seat for the whole time. Again, that bubble that we talked about. And then if you're traveling by yourself, we're not going to put you next to anybody that is not in your traveling party. So, you don't have to worry about being seated next to someone that you don't know and, being on that motor coach with them. So a really popular question that I get is, well, how many people are going to be on your motor coaches going forward? Because it's obviously, we never filled the motor coach to the absolute limit, but you had a semi-full motor coach, and we're looking at now. We've already introduced in all of our exotic destinations, so Africa, Asia, South America, Australia, New Zealand. We're going to have a maximum of 20 passengers on those tours, and of course, those are always smaller tours anyway. And right now in Europe and North America, we don't have a set number in place. We will abide by whatever the guidelines are that are provided to us. So if we have to have less people on a motor coach, and maybe we have 2 or 3 motor coaches on a departure instead of where we would have had just one in the past. So just know that whatever it is that's required of us, we will be doing that and ensuring that all of the protocols and all of the standards that are in place are going to be there on all of our tours. And I mentioned before, replacing a lot of those touch points. So that could be everything from luggage handling. You'll never check in and out of a hotel. You'll never have to purchase your sightseeing tickets. And you'll have expedited entry into all of those must-see attractions that we include. And when touch is necessary, your tour directors will be right there armed with hand sanitizer to make sure you're staying safe. And we have an entire on-trip assurance, and I just hit on a couple of points as we were going through those first slides. But we have an entire on-trip assurance, and anyone at Longwood can provide you with that if you want to read through it in more detail, know exactly what we're doing on our tours. And I talked about flexibility before, and what we've done is we've put together what we call our peace of mind policy. So let's say you're starting to think about going somewhere in 2021, but you're a little, you're still a little hesitant. I don't want to lose my money. I'm afraid of putting something out there and then not being able to get my money back. So we are giving everyone that books for 2021 the option to change their date, their destination, their brand. So you can go with any of our brands right up until you pay your final payment without any penalty whatsoever. So you might think that, you wanted to do an Italy tour and maybe now you're like, oh, you know what? I think I really want to stay right here in North America. You can make that change. So, rest assured, we have your back. We're going to make sure your money is protected. And we're going to allow you to travel the way and when you want to travel. So let's dig into some content and some destinations here. We're going to start with my favorite and our #1 destination in the world, and that's Italy. If you have not been to Europe, Italy is definitely a great option for your first trip. If you have family or history in your family from Italy, it's an amazing trip to take. And Italy, what I love about Italy is that, one, you can go back multiple times to different places and every vacation is completely different, but it's got so much, stunning beauty, ruins, sculptures, art, the cuisine and the wines, and just so much that Italy is just one of those destinations that appeals to so many people. So we have our tours, our traditional tours that are, if you're going to Italy, especially for the first time, most people want to hit Rome, Florence, and Venice. So we have many, many tours that include those 3 cities. And I'll show you a couple of them. But we also have something called our Undiscovered Italy. And those are a whole portfolio of tours that take you into some of the smaller towns and villages that are what we call off the beaten piazza. So it could be tours of Sicily. It could be down in southern Italy in the Apulia region. So there's some really cool tours that if you've been to Italy and done the must-see sites, that you can go back and really get into some areas that very few people get the opportunity to see. So we'll start with our #1 tour in Italy, and it's called The Best of Italy. And this is an 11-day round trip Rome. And you can get an idea of what the geography is that this tour will cover. And just so you know, when you're looking at our maps of these tours, when you see the green dot, so for instance here, the green circle in Rome with a 2, means that tour is going to start in Rome and we're going to spend 2 nights in Rome. And then we'll travel through, and every time you see a circle with a number in it, that's the number of nights that we're staying in that destination. So you can see we really space those out nicely so that you're not spending huge amounts of time on a motor coach. So this is going to start in Rome. And of course, anytime we're in Rome, you're going to see all the main highlights on any of our tours. And that's going to be the Vatican, the Sistine Chapel, St. Peter's Square, the Basilica, and the Colosseum. But this, as you can see, is also going to go into a lot of little areas like Orvieto. You're going to spend 2 nights in Tuscany, and you'll go off and do an excursion into Florence, of course, see the Statue of David, visit the must-see of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, go up to Venice Island. And of course, you'll see the must-see sites there. St. Mark's Square, the Basilica, Doge's Palace, the Bridge of Sighs. And you also do an excursion into Burano, so you can go see the glass blowing. And then to break up that trip down to the southern part of Italy, you'll stop in Assisi. And that's an absolutely beautiful church, a beautiful area with some churches and basilicas that you'll visit. And then you'll go down to Capri and you'll do a jet foil trip out to the island of Capri. You will visit Pompeii and do a walking tour of the excavations. And then weather permitting, you'll do a boat tour around the island of Capri. So if you're looking to do kind of the must-sees of Italy, this is definitely the trip for you. And then we
Lori,
also have, yes.
Oh, Lori, this is Christine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say, so my sister and I did that trip. It was the time of our life. It was just incredible. So anybody who has not done that, I highly recommend it. I would do the same tour over again. It was just that wonderful.
What was your highlight?
Oh my God, there is not one thing. It was everything, and including the Globus personnel. I mean, our not cruise director, our tour director. Yep. She was fabulous. All the places that we went to, the hotels, there was not a bad thing about it. It was just the best trip of our life. It was
that's
wonderful.
So nice to hear. Thank you.
It was wonderful.
I didn't even pay her for that, guys. That was all authentic. So, well,
Lori,
thank you.
Just one thing I have to say is that one of the, there's a lot of tour companies out there, and with clients over the years, the reason we've swung a lot of the business to Globus is because of what Christine just said, is that the tour guides make the trip.
Yeah.
And one of the things, a lot of our clients have come back and said they've done other tour companies, and when a tour guide tells you a story and then you try to get deeper in conversation about that story, a lot of the other companies, it's off script. They don't know how to answer.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Your tour guides do. They are in depth with the product that they have.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
I mean, they're locals, and if they're in an area that's not their area of specialties, then of course you have a step-on guide. So, the way it is in Europe is you have to be certified in in a certain city, and if you're not certified in that city, so if you go to Florence, and then you'll have a step-on guide, and they're even that much more knowledgeable because that's their area. So you just get so much valuable information.
Yeah.
So it's not just a see, you learn so much, about the people and the history. So that's what I love about touring myself. So,
yep, it's wonderful.
So we also have our Italian sampler, and this is a 9-day that goes from Rome up to Padua. So as you can see, this one covers a little bit more of the northern part of Italy. So, this might be an area that you have not been able to do. So again, if you look at your map, you're going to do 2 nights in Rome. We'll go up into the Chianti Hills, over to Montecassini and stay over there, up to the Verona area, which again, is a little different than the previous tour, and do 2 nights in Padua. So this has got some really cool highlights. Of course, you're going to have all the must-sees in Rome, the Colosseum in Vatican, in Florence. You'll see the Statue of David, in Venice, St. Mark's Square, and Doge's Palace. But I'm one that always looks at what are the things I'm going to eat and drink that are going to be cool. So on this one, I love that you're going to taste the Cantucce alle Mandorle and the Monteriggioni. Yes, I practiced those, and drink grappa and Bassano. So there's some really cool things that we do. We call them our local favorites, and those are incorporated into this tour. Now this, if you said, where do you want to go in Italy? Hands down, every time I will say Cinque Terre. If for anybody who doesn't know Cinque Terre, it's these 5 little ancient villages built along the cliffs of the Italian Riviera. And so on this tour, this is a 10-day round trip from Milan. You will actually go by boat and train throughout Cinque Terre. You'll start in Milan, go around to Parma, down to Lucca, which is a really beautiful little village, up through Cinque Terre, and then out to Turin. So you've got some really cool highlights on this tour. I mentioned the boat and train through Cinque Terre. You'll have wine tastings in Gabbiano. You'll taste Parmesan cheese in Bussetto and risotto in Vercelli. So this is again, if you've done kind of those must-sees, this is a really different option in Italy. And then let's move on to one of our next top selling destinations, and that's London. There's no one I meet that doesn't have London somewhere on their bucket list. And what better than combining London and Paris in the same
Why
tour?
not?
Why not? You're there. What the heck? So I love this one because it's not super long. So you're 3 nights in London and you're going to do all of the top sightseeing in London and see all the main things. I love the nighttime river cruise on the Thames, the guided sightseeing, and then the London Eye champagne experience. That's so cool. Then the high-speed Euros train down to Paris, where of course you'll do all the main sightseeing there. You'll do the Latin Quarter. You do a cruise on the Seine. You go to Montmartre Art District. And so I love this, but what I love about it is there's so many options to add on to this. So if you want to do these 2 main cities, and then you could grab a Avalon Waterways river cruise from Paris and do the Seine cruise. Or maybe you're doing an ocean cruise around England and you're sailing in and out of Southampton. You could then leave Southampton and go and do this, 3 nights in London and 3 nights in Paris. So if you only have a short time for a vacation, this is a great option. If you have a little longer, there's lots of things you can add on to this and really extend your time in London and Paris. So now when we get into Britain Uncovered, now you're getting into a tour that's going to encompass England, Scotland, and Wales. And it's funny, when I talk to people that do this region, it surprises me every time people tell me the favorite part of their visit here is Wales. And that's never what I would have thought. But there's some great highlights here. So you'll see, you start in London. You'll go down through Stonehenge and visit the prehistoric monuments there. You'll go around to Cornwall and do the little fishing village of Looe, visit the Roman relics of Bath, which everyone tells me is one of the most beautiful cities. You'll go to Shakespeare's schoolroom in Stratford-upon-Avon, visit the Beatles story in Liverpool. And of course, you can't go to Scotland without visiting the home of golf in St. Andrews. And I know I myself am a huge Outlander fan. So when I see things like the battle sites of Culloden, there's just so many cool things that I think if you really want to do Great Britain, this is the tour for you. And then maybe you just want to hit the highlights. So the 4 capital cities of Europe. So on this tour, you'll start in Amsterdam, one of my favorite cities, 2 nights in Amsterdam, go down through Antwerp and overnight in Brussels, come down, spend 2 nights in Paris, and then take that high-speed train up to London and do all of your major sightseeing in London. So this is really cool. These are kind of 4 cities that tend to be on a lot of people's bucket lists. And here is a tour where you can actually put them all together in one trip. And another really and popular area, the last couple of years, of course, before this year, Spain and Portugal were exploding in popularity, and Portugal especially. So we have tours that are just Spain, we have tours that are just Portugal, and then we have ones that combine both. So our best of Spain is that tour that if you want to see all of Spain, this is a 10-day tour from Madrid to Barcelona. And I had an opportunity to do this. And again, it would be hard for me to pick out my number one highlight because I just absolutely love the tour through Spain. Like Italy, great food, great wine, warm and welcoming people, beautiful weather, and great history. So, when you're in Madrid, you'll go see the Prado Museum. And I remember when I went there and I was like, where do you even begin? Like, there's so much to look at here, but the tour directors and the step-on guides are like, they take you to the most important things. So you don't have to spend 18 hours in the museum. They make it a lot better. And then probably my favorite city on the whole trip is Seville. And and you'll do a beautiful guided walking tour through there. Granada, Valencia, you'll taste a horchata drink and have paella at dinner, and end in Barcelona with a visit to the Sagrada Familia, which is definitely a must if you go to Spain. And then,
Bruce, I'm sorry. So, yes. Bruce, this is the trip that Patricia and I were taking in this past September.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry you missed it.
I'm sorry that COVID hit us. Yep. I know it. We were so looking forward to it. It's very disappointing.
Well, I hope you keep it on your radar for the future.
Most definitely.
It is a fabulous, fabulous tour. It really is. I think I myself was surprised by how much I loved Spain, because I was always such an Italy girl. And then when I went to Spain, I was like, oh yeah, this is really, really nice too.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And then, so now let's say you want to add Portugal into that. So this is one tour that will combine both Portugal and Northern Spain. So you will start in Lisbon and you'll make a stop in Fatima. And in Fatima, you'll visit the Sanctuary of the Lady of the Rosary. And we actually have some faith-based tours that spend a lot of time in Fatima, but this is definitely a very special site and one that people really love to visit. You'll also go up through Vigo and do a walking tour. You'll have dinner and wine at a local restaurant in Santiago de Compostela. In Oviedo, you'll do the cathedral, enjoy a cider tasting. In Bilbao, you'll visit the Guggenheim Museum. Let's see, again, back in Barcelona, doing the Sagrada Familia. So this is, again, obviously you're not doing all of Spain, but you're doing a really beautiful portion of that northern part of Spain and adding Portugal as well. So let's move into North America. And, North America is very interesting. And every time I see kind of a fall off in Europe, for whatever reason, people decide to stay a little closer to home. And we're already seeing that in 2021 and 2022, that people are saying, you know what, I wanted to go here or there, but now I think I want to stay close at home. I don't think I want a long flight. I think I want to move some of these destinations in the US or Canada up on my bucket list. And Globus has been known for many, many years for their national parks tours. And one of the reasons why we're so famous in the national parks is that we stay right in the lodges in the national parks, which, unless you're a tour operator that has a lot of history, it's very hard to get space in those. So that's why so many of our tours in North America are so popular. But we don't only just do national parks. We'll do the coastal California. We'll go down through the southern US. We go all through Canada, Eastern Canada, out through Western Canada, just so many options right here in the US. One of our top tours is America's National Parks, which is a 10-day tour from Rapid City to Salt Lake City. And one thing I have noticed, it's very hard to get all the national parks in one tour, unless you want to spend a little bit more time. These aren't the super longer tours. We do have tours, though, that you can literally do all the national parks in one tour. But these are the ones that tend to, be our top sellers. So on this, you'll see you're going to start in Rapid City and you visit Mount Rushmore and the Crazy Horse Memorial. And then you'll move up, you'll overnight in Sheridan. You'll go out and you'll do the Little Bighorn Battlefield. You'll stay over in Cody and visit the Buffalo Bill Center of the West. You'll go up and do 2 nights in Yellowstone, and you'll stay right inside the park. And I know when I talk to people that have stayed in the lodges in the parks, they'll say you walk out in the morning and literally the wildlife is right there roaming around. So it's a really special experience. You'll visit the Grand Teton National Park. And then you'll spend 2 nights in Jackson. And one of our local favorites there is our Chuck Wagon Cookout. And that's always a favorite of our guests. We also have our Canyon Country Adventure. And this is a nice tour. This is an 8-day tour from Scottsdale to Las Vegas. And this will actually hit on 3 national parks. So you will begin your tour down in Scottsdale, Arizona. You'll go up and you'll do You'll stop in Oak Creek Canyon in Sedona. You'll do 2 nights in Grand Canyon National Park. Go up through Monument Valley, make a stop. You'll do a boat cruise on Lake Powell, and you'll spend 2 nights there. You'll visit Bryce Canyon National Park, Zion National Park, and end your tour with an overnight in Las Vegas. And of course, most people that do this add a little extra on the end and stay on a little longer in Las Vegas. And it was funny, I heard you guys talking about a little bit about Alaska before. So one thing I know, I worked for Royal Caribbean for 15 years. So I know that a lot of people, when they think of Alaska, they think of going and doing an inside passage cruise. And until I went and did actually the land part of Alaska, I realized that it's the interior of Alaska that is really the fascinating part and where the true wildlife and scenery is. So we do it both ways. So we have, we work with Holland America when we are in Alaska. So we have tours where we combine a Holland America tour with a land tour in Alaska, but we also have some that are just land tours. So this is one, and this is called the Ultimate Alaska and the Yukon. So this is a 13-day round trip Anchorage tour. So if maybe, you know, or maybe I have some people that just go do the inside passage and they never saw the interior of Alaska. So this is a great way to go back and not only get into the interior of Alaska, but also get into the Yukon territory, which a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do, because a lot of times when you're going and you're doing the cruise in the interior, when you add on the Yukon, it just maybe for a lot of people becomes a little bit too long. And it's a, you know, it's an aggressive trip. So I love Alaska, but I know I was glad I did it when I was a little younger, because I was like, wow, this is aggressive. You're like out doing these really serious excursions. So couple of the highlights on this. So you can see you start in Anchorage, Denali National Park. If you haven't done it, it's an absolute must. We travel through Alaska on the Alaska Railroad on that portion. And then if you haven't done Denali before, you get in a school bus, which everybody gets in the school bus, and goes and does the escorted tour through Denali. And it's an amazing experience. And then we take you to the 49 State Brewery for our local favorite lunch. In Fairbanks, this was probably one of my favorite things that I did in Alaska, was you go on the big sternwheeler Discovery down the Chain of River. And along the way, you visit sites and you'll have people who will talk to you about hunting and fishing in Alaska. You'll meet people that raise the dogs for the Iditarod. And it's just a really cool experience. I had never done anything like that. And I was just blown away by it. You'll go into Dawson City, where claim number 1 was in the gold rush. In Whitehorse, you'll have a really cool Yukon, Taste of the Yukon dinner. You'll go to Valdez and do a cruise on the Prince William Sound and end in Anchorage. So I think this is a really nice alternative for those that really just want to experience the interior of Alaska and the Yukon, and maybe not so much do just an inside passage cruise.
Hey, so Lori, quick question. So you mentioned Holland America. How much time is spent on that cruise line?
Typically, if we do a Holland America cruise, it's a 7-night cruise of the inside passage. And then we'll add that on to a tour in Alaska. And of course, you know, it's just a little bit different. They do their own version of that, and we do our version of it as well.
Oh, all right, because you mentioned 13 days. So would it be 7 days as part of that tour on Holland America, and then 6 days being the train, and, you know, and all that other.
And typically when they do that, they'll do the 7-night cruise. And then if you just look at that Fairbanks, Denali, Anchorage, and Talkeetna, that is typically when you do a land tour in Alaska that's combined with a cruise, when you're getting into like this 13 nights. Yeah. That's typically where you'll visit. It's to get into add that part and the Yukon is then you're getting into even a much longer trip. So again, sometimes it just comes down to the amount of time you have. And if you're going to go to Alaska once and you're going to do it all, or you're like, okay, this time I'm going to do this. And if I go back, maybe I'll be able to do the Yukon, but it's two different, you know, in some cases, it's
this is a 13-day land trip.
Yeah, this is no cruise.
With the 7-day cruise, right? So it could be a 20-day trip.
Right. Correct. Okay. So, and I know from looking at some of Holland America's itineraries, when you add the Yukon, you are getting into a much longer trip. It's usually about a 3-week trip to do all of that, because that interior of Alaska is huge. I mean, it's when you see just what if you ever look at a map of Alaska and you see what the inside passage portion of the cruise, what it covers compared to the state of Alaska, it doesn't even touch on the interior. So it's just a completely different experience. So.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. So that's just kind of my overview of brand. And again, I could do this with you for hours because we just have that much product, but I'm happy to come back anytime. So if you guys say, hey, I really want to know more about this tour, can we just talk about this tour? Or can we just talk about this country? We can always do that. But right now we have some great promotions. We have all of our early booking discounts. I mentioned before to the gentleman that we're going to be fully launching Europe November 4th, which is about 2 months later than we usually do it, but it's because we're kind of waiting to see the climate of Europe and where we're going to be and how much, capacity we're going to have in each area. So we're still in our early booking cycle. So we have 5% off on our Asia, South Pacific, and Africa right now, and then 10% off, which is huge. This is the most we ever do for Europe, North America, and South America. And that goes till January 4th. And then after that, we start to scale back. So after 10%, it's 7.5%, and then 5%, and then there's no more discount as we get closer. Mm-hmm. So that's the way the promotions work. Plus, I don't know where you guys are as far as, are you ready to book travel? Are you just perusing? And it's fine either way. But if you are ready to make a decision on something for 2021, I offer an extra show special of $100 off per person for 2 weeks. So just know that's there. No pressure at all. Everybody's going to have to get to the point of where they're ready to move forward on their own. And I thoroughly respect that in everyone.
Excellent.
These are all the places we go. So we go to 6 continents of the world. We were going to the 7th, to the Antarctic, but we lost that during this time frame because we lost the time when we could go. So right now we're in 6 continents of the world. So regardless of whether you want to do escorted touring, independent touring, river cruising, hopefully you'll find that, the Globus family of brands has something for you. And, I just encourage you to work with these guys that put this together tonight. And I'm sure they can help you in finding just the right trip for you.
I think so.
I think so.
I'm confident.
So Lori, can I ask a question about that 10% discount?
Yes.
Is that 10% discount for booking in 2021 and traveling in 2021, or can you book it in 2021 and travel in 2022?
Okay, so that particular promotion will expire on January 4th for travel in 2021. So technically,
so you have to book by January 4th and travel in 2021.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And at some point, there will, of course, be a 2022 early booking discount. If somebody is looking to that much further out, which is fine.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So somebody books by October 29th, something in 2021.
Yep.
They get the 10% off, and they get the $100 off per person.
Correct.
The promotion.
And if you have happened to travel with us in the past, so like if you have traveled with us since we put in the welcome back credit, which was in 2018 and beyond, you might also have a welcome back credit that's sitting there that you may be able to apply as well.
Correct.
Or a peace of mind if you had a 2020 trip that was canceled and you just took a letter of credit, you would also have a peace of mind credit that is waiting for you as well.
Mm-hmm. So the people book by October 29th, they get the $100 off and they get the 10% off.
Yes.
And with this peace of mind thing that they can cancel prior to final payment.
Yep.
Can they, so let's say they're going in September of 21, but now it's June of 21 and July 21 when final payments due and they decide not to go, if something was already open and selling for 2022, can they just change it to that?
Yes, you can move it to anything in 2021 or 22. Now, keep in mind, there's two different ways that you could. So let's say we canceled the departure, like we canceled your Spain trip, unfortunately. You have the option then of taking a letter of credit and a bonus offer, or taking the refund. But if you opt to cancel because you just aren't comfortable, which is fine, then you can change it to any of our other departures, dates, locations, brands through 2022 with no penalty. But not take a refund unless we have canceled.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
But I will
Makes
tell
sense.
you, if there is one very, very valuable lesson I learned through all this, because I had multiple trips myself that were canceled, I can never tell anybody enough how important travel insurance is. And not because, I mean, some things I know were not covered under, technically a pandemic is not a covered reason for an insurance, but there were so many other cases where the insurance became so important. And it wasn't just, somebody in your family died. These were huge global situations. And so the best piece of advice I can give anyone is take your travel insurance, get the cancel for any reason, even if it's a little bit more, and just protect yourself.
Hey, Lori, this is
I
Jim
agree.
Tomato. Hello. Yeah, I was wondering, we've been working with Bruce on Costa Rica. Do you have a package for Costa Rica?
We do have a package for Costa Rica. In fact, as soon as we get done, I can send that over to Bruce so he can see what the options are. So our Costa Rica is going to be a little bit more like culturally immersive. It's not so much like go to an all-inclusive and be on the beach. It's going to do more touring and, but it's a very cool trip and very, very popular in our South America and Latin America itinerary. So I'd be happy to share that with you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. We do have warm weather destinations. We do Hawaii, we do Costa Rica. We're just not like so much the beach vacations as the get in and experience the culture of the area types of things.
I thought they went over that. That's
Anybody have any other questions or anything?
No, this is wonderful. Thank you for the invite.
Well, I
thank you.
really appreciate you taking the time right now. And like I told you before, if you're ready to book, great. If you're not, I get it. It's just nice that people are keeping their minds open and looking at, when I can travel again, what's the first thing I'm going to do? So I appreciate it.
Well, what we decided to do here too is we have the time. So we figured it's a great time to educate people on different places, different tours, different companies, and, just throw it out there. So when people are ready, they book.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So we're here and we're just, we can't wait till the time when you guys can all come back and travel and feel safe and secure and just know that you can go on a great vacation and have an amazing time and
excellent.
feel comfortable doing it.
Hey, we're just looking forward to going back to the office where the phone rings 30 times a day, the 29 are in spam.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to sitting somewhere other than my kitchen island one day, like maybe in my car. I don't know. So yes, I'm with you guys.
All right. Well, thank you for everything. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you guys too.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful evening.
Bruce.
Thank you. Definitely.
Stay well.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I'll get the brochure out to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Lori.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Bye, Bruce.